Third time's the charm. Okay, we'll call this meeting of the Architectural Design and Planning Commission to order. Let's see. Angela, will you please lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
I will be happy. Great. Place your right hand over your heart. Ready, begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. Roll call, please.
Commissioners Angela Hearns,
Present.
Andrew Mercy,
Present.
Timothy Wiley.
Present. Present.
Thank you. Chairperson April Bartlett.
Present.
We have a quorum.
Public business from the floor. If an individual is unable to stay through the entire meeting due to extenuating circumstances, a total of 10 minutes is provided at this time, during which input may be given regarding agenda items. Individual speakers are limited to 3 minutes each. Any person who would like to address the Architectural and Design Commission on any agendized item is requested to complete a speaker card for the recording secretary and identify the agenda item you would like to discuss. Each person will be given an opportunity to address the Architectural and Design Commission at the time such item is discussed by the Architectural and Design Commission. Speaker cards available at the entrance of the council chambers. Individual speakers are limited to 3 minutes each. Okay, so I move that we approve the minutes from the regular meeting of December 1st. We have a second?
I second.
Motion approved. Oh, all in favor? Should we vote? Yes? Good? Okay. Oh, you want to...
Motion passes 3-0 with 1 abstention.
New business from the floor. Let's see, Safe Routes to School Master Plan. We have a recommendation to adopt Resolution 1701 recommending to the Planning Commission and City Council approval of the City of Lancaster Safe Routes to School Master Plan.
Chairperson Bartlett, I'll just give you a brief background. You, at your last meeting in December, did receive a presentation from Ryan Snyder. Kind of went over the process that was used to develop the overall Safe Routes to School master plan. This is a project that's taken several years to get to this point, but we're very glad that it has finally made it. We lost our funding once, had to get that replaced, managed to do that. I think this has been, the process of creating the plan has been a very good thing for us. It's strengthened our relationship with our school districts. Our staff between city and particularly the Lancaster School District is much better. It has certainly enhanced the reputation of the city in terms of one that takes seriously its commitment to active transportation, better safety for pedestrians and bicyclists. And I think all of that together is laid out by the fact that we've been a very successful organization in terms of obtaining funding for these types of improvements. We did use information out of this draft plan as part of an application in the last cycle of the state's active transportation planning grant sequence, and we were able to obtain a grant that I believe is somewhere just a little shy of $6 million for improvements around 5 of the core schools within the city. So I think that speaks to the importance of the plan. It speaks to the reputation of our city, and we would recommend that you endorse the plan both to our Planning Commission and to the City Council. We would look to take it forward to both of those bodies in the coming months once your action is completed. I'd be happy to answer any questions that you might have.
Any questions? No? I think we've all researched it and read and paid attention to all of the presentations and are comfortable with it. And would you say that we are in agreement that we should approve the resolution to recommend this? Should we take a vote, and see all who's in favor? A motion to approve.
I'll move we adopt resolution number 1701, recommending to the Planning Commission and City Council approval of the City of Lancaster Safe Routes to School Master Plan.
I'll second the motion.
I second.
Commissioner Wiley? Your vote, please. Thank you.
Motion passes by a 4-0 vote. Just for the commission's information, we do expect to have the initial presentation of this to our Planning Commission at their February meeting.
Great.
So I'm very excited about that. Thank you.
Then with the next item we have for new business is the streetlight design requirement.
Good evening, Chairman Bartlett and members of the ADC. Staff was directed to research the design of streetlights in the city to come up with an updated and consistent look for new development and capital projects. After working, I guess, over several months regarding potential streetlight designs, one was selected. You can see the rendering here. You have a copy in your packet. This is a more modern-looking two-piece split base design that would provide both street lighting and pedestrian lighting, and you can see it kind of right there for the pedestrian lighting going over the sidewalk, and right there that goes over the street. The color on the poles can be changed to match individual neighborhoods and areas. All other requirements for lighting, including spacing and lighting levels, would remain unchanged, and staff is requesting the Commission's feedback on the design as to whether you like it or dislike it, and if you dislike it, we would like to know why, so we can get a better feel for what you're looking for. And I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Are these the typical height of the streetlights that we have now? Same?
Correct. So nothing else would change except the look.
So the base is wide and it narrows up to the
Kind of
top.
tapers, and you may be able to see better. No, that doesn't really show it. It may show up better on yours in your printout, but you can see here, it's got a kind of taper design leading all the way up. Yes?
So other than the modernization of the poles, what are the other benefits of changing out the existing poles, let's say?
So I believe the city was looking for a consistent standard. We're not changing out what's already there.
Okay.
So this would apply to new developments, new capital projects, so that, because I believe right now there isn't like a design standard that developers can just look at and say, okay, this is what I need to put in. So this would provide them with that information and would lead to a consistent look.
The sidewalk light. Yeah.
This piece here?
Yeah. That's something new. I don't think I've ever seen that before. Usually it's like two different poles, isn't it?
Correct. This would allow this lighting to go both ways on one pole.
To the sidewalk as well as to the street.
Correct.
Two questions. One, but it would also apply, I assume, if there's a car accident, one and gets knocked down in another area, this is the type that goes up?
I believe they would get, if a streetlight was to get knocked down in an accident, it would be replaced with what's there now, so that you don't end up with this like alternating. I did suggest to traffic that might make it an easier way for them to count traffic statistics, and they weren't impressed.
My other question, you mentioned the color can be adjusted depending on the neighborhood. Is the color a part of the, or I would say it, a part of the actual pole, or is it just painted on? Because I know in our heat and sun, the paint tends to chip away after a while, and then it's whatever color it is underneath.
Right, I believe it's part of the custom casting.
Okay, that's how you say it.
And as far as, are these LED, are they solar, are they energy efficient? What kind of energy are we?
I believe they would be the standard street lights that we put in now, which are either LS2 or LS3.
They could
Or-
actually use any lighting head. So if we ever change the standard in the future, you could actually put a different head on there. So now the current standard is LED, so it would be an LED.
So they'll be LED. Any other questions? So do you want us to,
If you have any feedback, thoughts on that design, that's what we're looking for your input on. If you like it, knowing that would be great. If you dislike it, knowing why you dislike it would also be helpful.
Other than being new, is there any like the wider base? Does it give better stabilization, or is it just a look, or is there any major difference with that wide angle?
I don't believe so.
Okay, so it's just a new pole, and
It's a new look of the pole, but nothing else in terms of requirements would change.
okay, but I mean it doesn't give it more stabilization, and I mean they're going to put it in the ground the same way they normally do, and dig 4 foot
Correct.
down and
Correct.
anchor it, and okay.
so it's just more of a streamlined design?
A more streamlined look.
If I could add to that, the foundation will be the same that it is on the existing pole, and it'll have bolts that tie it in, so there'll be no different there. Two other things I wanted to point out. The arm on the back there over the sidewalk, that's actually optional. You don't have to have it there. If you don't want it, there's a plate that mounts on there, and then because not in all neighborhoods you won't need the light on the sidewalk like that. The other thing, that flange on the bottom, that can be changed different colors than the street light pole too, so you can do some different treatments there in different corridors in the city if you'd like.
What is the cost difference between the standard poles that we've had to the difference of these?
Don't quote me on this. We had some estimates that went through, and I think this is $200 or $300 cheaper. Is that correct, Jeff? Yeah. It's like $200 or $300 cheaper than an existing pole. Existing pole was around $2,300 or $2,400 to replace and install, and this was around $2,000, I think.
Any other cities already using it, or is this a whole new design that no one else has?
We're not currently using this design. This is something that we're considering. And
Are
we're-
any other cities using it? Do you know of?
not off the top of my head, I don't know.
Offer up, I like it. I think it's a nice, crisp design. Something to think about when I was having a conversation with Mayor Paris. He said, one of the things he said is part of his vision and the council's vision is to have, when you're driving around Lancaster, you know you're in Lancaster as opposed to any other type of suburban city. So I think when we, moving forward, when we think about things like that color scheme and how to do that in a positive way and something that, ideally won't get dated over time, but something to think about as a way of customizing and showing our pride in our city.
Okay.
What is the lifespan of these?
Would you know?
My guess, without looking at the literature on it, would be 50 years, similar to any other infrastructure.
Okay. It's not any different as far as materials that it's built with?
No.
Okay.
In reference to the distinctions between the communities or neighborhoods, I'm not real sure how I feel about that, only because just kind of thinking off the top of my head, is just to not have any particular neighborhoods feeling different than another one. I do like the idea of what my colleague has stated, in that if there's some type of uniform something, whether it's the Positively Clear sign that Lancaster has, or, something that unites us rather than divides us, I think. Because even the nonverbal communicates, so.
Right, and the only difference between the communities or the neighborhoods would be, this would be the standard for new neighborhoods being constructed.
Right.
In the event that the city was to go back and retrofit at some point in time, then it would get retrofitted with the same new standard. But they aren't going to go, at this time, there's no plans to go back and replace all of that infrastructure.
Right. Okay, thank you.
The added value to that backlight, I mean, I kind of like it myself, I think, but is there an added value to that backlight, that goes to the sidewalk?
The backlight?
Oh, the one that goes to the side.
Oh, this pedestrian one? I think the added value is that if you need both street lighting and pedestrian lighting in a neighborhood, it can be located on one pole instead of having multiple poles.
I think it just had a...
Well,
my opinion,
I think that backlight becomes more useful actually in a commercial or industrial area where you may have uses in that area where they want their parking lot or something like that lit. Now, in a neighborhood, it may not be as useful because you might not want the neighborhood as well lit or as bright, because then you get light pollution and a lot of noise for the residents trying to live there.
Coming into your bedroom window when you don't want to.
Correct.
Personally, I like the design myself.
Okay.
I like the streamlined look of it, and I think it's, I like the option that you have for the street light on the side.
Okay.
You like it? Do you want to have the other feedback?
Anything else?
Guess not.
That was it.
That's it? I thought we were going over something, didn't they send us something to review for tonight? Or it was just to whether or not we were going to approve the recommendation?
We're going to do March. Yeah, you may have received some information. We were going to look originally at design of wireless telecommunication facilities, but our attorney has asked to take a closer look at that first, and then we'll be back to you, because we don't really want to dispute the attorney. We would rather have the attorney look at it first.
So that was the only thing that was removed then?
Right.
Okay.
Right, but that will be back to you in the short term rather than the long term, I believe.
That was easy then. Okay. So we move on to public business from the floor. Did you need any other feedback from us, or you didn't
No,
need-
I'm good.
Okay, no decisions, just feedback. Okay.
Yes.
Okay, so public business from the floor, non-agendized items. This portion of the agenda allows an individual the opportunity to address the commission on any subject regarding city business. Under state legislation, no action can be taken on non-agenda items. Members of the public should be aware of this when addressing the commission regarding items not specifically referenced on the agenda. Please complete a speaker card for the recording secretary. Individual speakers are limited to 3 minutes each. Okay. All right, then I move to adjourn the meeting to Thursday, March 2nd at 5 p.m.